At their talks in London, the British and Ukrainian leaders have agreed that Friday's US-Russia summit presents a viable chance to make progress on ending the war in Ukraine, so long as President Putin can prove he is serious about peace. In Moscow, Mr. Putin has praised the Trump administration for what he called its energetic and sincere efforts to stop hostilities and achieve agreements in the interests of all parties. The Kremlin has announced more details of the summit. It will start on Friday at 11:30 local time. As expected, Ukraine will be the central issue, but both leaders will also discuss trade and economic cooperation. Mr. Putin and Mr. Trump will first have a one-to-one meeting with translators, but they will also have a wider meeting with their delegations and a working breakfast. From the Russian side, we know that Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will also be attending. Presidents Putin and Trump will hold a joint news conference at the end of the summit. Jared Hill from CBS News gave me this update on what we should expect from the summit from the US perspective.
So as of now, Anita, there is some sort of a remarks scheduled around 1 this afternoon from President Trump, what exactly he's expected to say. There is, no telling at this point, but we could be hearing something else from him a little bit later on this afternoon. When it comes to expectations out of this meeting, we've seen the White House really trying to temper expectations, describing this as a listening exercise for President Trump. President Trump even yesterday going so far as to saying that this is basically setting the table for a second meeting that would presumably happen between the three of them, President Trump, President Putin, as well as President Zelensky. So it doesn't seem as though the White House is expecting for there to be, concrete deliverables coming out of tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see.
And waiting to see, presumably, in those comments later, Jared, whether President Trump, if he talks about the summit, might say anything more about possible sanctions on Russia and its trading partners, because after those virtual talks in Berlin yesterday, we heard him say that there would be serious consequences if Russia didn't make serious moves towards peace.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're seeing yet again President Trump sort of teasing out the possibility of something in the future, saying that there would be, as you mentioned, those serious consequences for Russia if Putin doesn't agree to end the war. He was explicitly asked whether that means sanctions or tariffs or anything like that, but he would not go into detail quite yet, which is pretty much par for the course from what we've seen from President Trump, liking to sort of tease out some of these possible details before they actually come to fruition, if they do.
And just as we came to you, we mentioned that the Russian side, Jared had said that Ukraine will obviously be the main topic, but that economic cooperation would also be discussed. We've seen President Trump wrap up economic policy and politics very closely in a number of other instances in different parts of the world. Might that happen here as well?
That's always a possibility. I mean, again, this is going to be a major meeting between these two world leaders who haven't met face to face in quite some time, especially being that this is going to be happening on American soil that at one point in time was Russian soil. We know that there is some interest from the Russians regarding things like natural minerals and resources from within Alaska, but we haven't quite heard just yet from the White House whether that is something that they are planning to also speak about. Again, as the day continues to unfold, things are just getting started here on the East Coast in the United States. We will hopefully learn some more from the White House about what they're expecting and planning for this meeting.
Jared Hill in New York. We've been hearing reports that Vladimir Putin has held meetings today with some of his top officials ahead of that summit in Alaska tomorrow with President Trump. Let's speak now to Yevgeny Podvykan from BBC Monitoring, who joins us from Tbilisi. Yevgeny, thank you for joining us. And I wonder how the media in Russia is reporting the build-up to this meeting in Alaska.
The Russian media officials have been emphasizing the importance of the summit, and one national TV channel even called it the summit of the century. And two main angles or features stand out. The first is that there is a perception in the Russian media that the meeting finally places the US and Russia on equal footing, and that, Russian propaganda highlight that the two leaders, they speak as equals. And the meeting is framed as the meeting of two nuclear superpowers. And the second angle is that Russia has finally achieved its aim of speaking directly to the Americans, because in Russian point of view, it is the United States which is the strongest of its members, and it has called the peace to all the geopolitical conflicts and tensions that Russia has with the West, because the Russian narratives they portray Ukraine and the Western puppet, and Europe as a collection of sort of military battles, and mainly Washington Eastern and
Yevgeny, Yevgeny, sorry to interrupt. We're having a little problem with the sound, a little bit of difficulty hearing you. We will see if we can sort that out if possible. But for the moment, thank you very much. Yevgeny Podvykin from Tbilisi, from BBC Monitoring, joining us from Tbilisi.